Gen V Season 1 basically ruined The Boys, beginning with Season 4 and in ways from which the show has never really recovered by introducing its whole soup virus plotline that later became a major part of the story of The Boys from the second half of Season 4 on, and that made it so that viewers who were invested in the superior show that was The Boys, but not in the lesser spin-off show that was Gen V itself, would be left scratching their heads and disappointed with what ultimately became a major part of The Boys' final arc. That's the problem. Here's how the creators of The Boys should have fixed it before it started. Obviously, the smartest play would have been to just focus on concluding the narrative of The Boys without tossing in spin-offs until after the conclusion of the main storyline. It's usually not a good idea for a main franchise or story to start running spin-off franchises or stories during the run of that main narrative. It often leads to timeline confusion, and it often risks causing followers to lose interest by turning the overall adventure into complicated homework, in that they have to start following one or more potentially inferior spin-off stories in order to enjoy what was once a simple and pure main storyline. And that's exactly what happened with Gen V and The Boys. But since it is clear that the creators of The Boys probably always intended to use at least the soup virus plotline from Gen V, and possibly at least some of the characters from Gen V in the final arc of The Boys' main storyline, the best way to have done it, and the way that they should have gone about doing it, is to just retrofit the story of Gen V Season 1 and the relevant parts of Season 2 into the storyline of The Boys Seasons 4 and possibly 5. Gen V Season 1 was decent, but everything relevant or special about it could have been redesigned for the storyline of The Boys Season 4. And this retrofitting process would have been even easier for everything of relevance in Gen V Season 2, because there was indeed so little of actual importance that actually did happen in that season. So much less than in Season 1, really. And the little relevant Season 2 material could have perhaps been redesigned to fit within maybe the first few episodes of The Boys Season 5, or maybe a special feature movie set before The Boys Season 5. Like, just imagine how much improved the storyline of The Boys Season 4, for example, could have been if there had perhaps been a running subplot wherein Huey goes undercover at Godolkin for whatever reason and ultimately uncovers the virus while meeting up with Marie, Jordan, Emma, Sam, Kate, and Andre, who are introduced that way as side characters and eventual supporting members of the Resistance to Homelander in the Boys series. Just think how much improved the plot of The Boys Season 5 up until now could have been if perhaps the little bit of relevant story from Gen V Season 2 was perhaps redesigned to work within its first couple of episodes. Like, for instance, ditching the Dogwater, Project Odessa, Marie is the Soup Messiah storyline, and maybe just doing a high-energy storyline wherein Starlight, A-Train, and the Gen V kids break Huey and the other members of The Boys out of individual prison camps while navigating a fascist soup state now ruled by Homelander, and later clash with Billy Butcher as he pursues his own plans for making the soup virus strong enough to kill Homelander and every other soup before releasing it into the world. Just imagine how much better The Boys Season 5 would have been if we'd gotten that as the plot of the first few episodes, instead of what has basically amounted to 5 episodes of wheel-spinning filler, half of which seems tailored to set up yet another spin-off series from The Boys in Vought Rising. I understand that pitch is not a perfect solution to the many problems of The Boys Seasons 4 and 5 and Gen V Seasons 1 and 2, but I do think it's a solid starting point for how the creators of The Boys could have and likely should have tackled the issue of including the relevant and necessary parts of the story that they wanted to tell in Gen V in the main narrative of The Boys, while not compromising that main narrative, and frankly, while actually improving that main narrative on many levels, just speaking conservatively. But anyway, and as always, that's just my opinion. Feel free to share yours.